Will Arya really become no one? And what does that even mean, really? What are the Faceless Men training Arya for anyway? Hi everyone, this is Robert. Welcome to In Deep Geek. On this channel we cover the best in fantasy books and TV shows, A Song of Ice and Fire, The Lord of the Rings, The Witcher and much more. There's a subscribe button in the bottom right of your screen if that sounds good to you. This is the latest in a series of videos on the role of the Faceless Men in A Song of Ice and Fire. You don't need to have watched those earlier videos before this, but they add a lot of context, so if you want to, there's a link appearing now. On the show, the scene where Jaqen tries to persuade Arya to come with him to Braavos was very clear. He shows her the cool face-changing trick and says to her that a girl has many names on her lips. Joffrey, Cersei, Tywin Lannister, Ilyn Payne, the Hound. Names to offer up to the Red God. She could offer them all, one by one. He basically tries to tempt her by saying that she, or someone else in the Order, could kill everyone on her list. It's clear she is being invited to join an assassin's guild. When she gets there, she is repeatedly told that she has to become no one, the clear implication being that this is about losing her identity to become a true faceless man. She is only released from the Faceless Men when she, in their words, finally becomes no one. It's never really explained what that means, and once she has left them, they play no further role in the story. That's all very different to the books. First of all, Arya's expectations before she joins them. Yes, she can clearly see that Jaqen is some sort of faceless assassin and is told she should go with him if she wants to learn more, but there's no explicit link to killing the people on her list. She genuinely has no idea what to expect and no expectations that she will get anything from it. In fact, one of the first things that the kindly man does when she gets there is to ask her whether she came there in order to learn how to kill the people on her list. Maybe, says Arya. Then you have come to the wrong place. It is not for you to say who shall live and who shall die. That gift belongs to him of many faces. In short, this is not an assassin training camp. It is a religious order to the god of death. And although we often focus on the cool ninja skills Arya is learning, actually their priority is teaching her the faith. The kindly man explains the tenets of the faith. She is taken on as a servant first, sweeping the temple, doing small acts of service, morning prayers and so on. She is shown how the temple works at every level, and the theological significance of every aspect is explained to her at every point. Nevertheless, the kindly man clearly has doubts about Arya's commitment, and basically says that she can go whenever she wants to. You know that you may leave this place. You are not one of us. Not yet. You may go home any time you wish. You told me that if I left I couldn't come back. Just so. I don't want to leave. Then stay. But remember, the House of Black and White is not a home for orphans. All men must serve beneath this roof. Vala de Charis is how we say it here. Remain if you will, but know that we shall require your obedience at all times and in all things. If you cannot obey, you must depart. I can obey. We shall see. And again, later on, she is told, you must offer up all you are to him of many faces, your body, your soul, yourself. If you cannot bring yourself to do that, you must leave this place. This message is repeated again and again. If she doesn't give up everything, she should leave. But the Faceless Men soon come to understand that behind it all, Arya has a very strong sense of self. This is seemingly why they insist so much on her becoming no one, because her sense of being someone, namely Arya Stark of Winterfell, is so strong. Reading the Arya chapters in Braavos, the pages are littered with examples of her saying to the Faceless Men that she will lay down her old life, values and kill list and obey, but then going ahead and just staying Arya. She keeps reciting her kill list in her head silently, keeps having wolf dreams and doesn't tell them, starts swogging into cats and doesn't tell them, pretends to get rid of all of her old things but keeps Needle hidden, kills Darian the Night's Watchman for abandoning his oath. The list goes on and on. And the Faceless Men seem to know a lot of this. They can certainly tell when she's lying, and yet they seem to treat these as learning points and keep on promoting her within the Order. For example, this exchange when Arya admits to killing Darian. She is told, "All men must die. We are but death's instruments, not death himself. When you slew the singer, you took God's powers on yourself. We kill men, but we do not presume to judge them. Do you understand?" No, she thought. Yes, she said. You lie, and that is why you must now walk in darkness until you see the way. Unless you wish to leave us, you need only ask, and you may have your eyes back. What follows is Arya losing her sight until she has proven herself again. It's a nuance, but a really important one. The Faceless Men here are not punishing her for remembering Arya Stark's old grievances and prejudices. They don't mention that here at all. It's for the act of deciding who should die, something they believe only their God can do. In other words, this is a theological sin she has committed, and she must now do penance until she can prove her worth again. Until you can see the way, as they put it. They are trying to indoctrinate her into their faith. Which leads to a rather intriguing question. If the Faceless Men can see that she is not giving up on her sense of self, why do they keep letting her get away with it? And not just letting her get away with it, but rise up fast in the Order, from new entrant to servant to acolyte to entry into the inner sanctum, to conducting assassinations and being taught their darkest face-changing secrets. I think it's simply because Arya is precocious and an ideal fit for them. They probably haven't seen her like for a long time. We looked last time at how she made such an impression on Jaqen. Her first interaction with the kindly man has him turning his face into a skull with a grave worm wriggling out of the eye socket. It's surely meant to scare people off, but she just picks up the worm and goes to eat it. The kindly man is shocked. No one has ever reacted to a death skull like that. She isn't scared by death. She embraces it. Exactly what worshippers of the god of death want. Then she's not blind for very long before she can strike someone creeping up on her. They weren't to know that she saw him through the eyes of a cat she had walked into. She kills without remorse, blends into new identities without a thought, and takes on someone else's face without a problem. She is a natural. No wonder they are willing to be a bit flexible with her training. On the other side of the coin, we should probably ask why Arya wants to stay, if she really doesn't want to do what they ask. Well, the answer we get again and again is that she thinks she has nowhere else to go. She thinks her mother, father, and all three of her brothers are dead. Sansa married to the Lannisters, her mentors Syrio and the Hound dead as well, Winterfell fallen. This is the only place that seems to want her. And it's also worth noting that becoming no one is not exactly the absolute we might think it is. Later on in Braavos, Arya serves at a meeting of what appears to be Faceless Men assassins, handing out contracts. They have to decide which assassin takes which contract, and we overhear this exchange. "I know this man," she heard a priest with the face of a plague victim say. "I know this man," the fat fellow echoed as she was pouring for him, but the handsome man said, "I will give this man the gift. I know him not." Later, the squinter said the same thing of someone else. So Faceless Men cannot give the gift, by which we mean kill, to people that they know. A sensible rule, of course. It prevents any personal feelings getting in the way of a contract. But it also shows that Faceless Men are not truly no one. They still have lives and pasts they are just committed to obeying 100%. The fact that a heated argument happens in that meeting also tells us that each retains their own personal views on things. As an aside, and as a rather cool bit of world building, we might have guessed this a lot earlier in the story if we'd known what to look for. When Arya buys passage on board the ship to Braavos with her Faceless Men coin, the sailors on board go to great lengths to try to get her to remember their names. If she is a faceless man, they want to make sure she knows who they are, so she can't kill them later. So what does all this add up to? Becoming no one appears not to be quite what we often think it is. It means absolute obedience and loyalty to the faith of the many-faced god, not losing all memory of yourself and all of your personality. The issue with Arya is that what is holding her back from that absolute obedience and loyalty is her identity as Arya Stark of Winterfell. The Faceless Men have allowed her to keep that buried deep as long as she wants to stay, and fast-tracked her through her training because of her outrageous potential, but at some point that tension will break. Perhaps her murder of Raff the Sweetling, one of the names on her list in the pre-release chapter of The Winds of Winter, will convince the Faceless Men that she will never give up her first loyalty. Perhaps she will hear somehow in the massive rumour mill that is Braavos that Winterfell has been reclaimed, Rickon still alive, Jon leaving the Night's Watch, something to do with her family that convinces her that she has a truer home back in Westeros. Either way, I suspect that Arya will never become no one, in the sense that she won't ever give up her first loyalty to House Stark. She has had many identities, and her obsession with death and killing is undeniable, but she remains Arya Stark of Winterfell, and she will reclaim Needle, her sword. Needle is important because in this chapter of her life, she has thematically and literarily bound up her own identity with that of Needle. When she hid it, she thought this. Needle was Robb and Bran and Rickon, her mother and her father, even Sansa. Needle was Winterfell's grey walls and the laughter of its people. Needle was the summer snows, Old Nan's stories, the heart tree with its red leaves and scary face, the warm, earthy smell of the glass gardens, the sound of the north wind rattling the shutters of her room. Needle was Jon Snow's smile. He used to mess my hair and call me little sister, she remembered. And suddenly there were tears in her eyes. When Arya reclaims Needle, she will re-embrace her identity as Arya Stark of Winterfell and head back to Westeros. Arya may learn the skills of the Faceless Men, but she will never become no one. Her sense of self-identity is too strong for that. If you'd like to see more videos in this series, or on the world of A Song of Ice and Fire more broadly, please click on the link on the left of your screen now. Or if you want to support this channel, the best way to do that is by clicking on the link to my Patreon page on the right of your screen now. That's all for this time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.